Welcome back, folks, to more Summoner, where it's been a while, but we are back. Quick word of warning, we will not be touching story progression in this episode, on the most part. I actually want to tackle some side quests, just clean them up, as well as get a bit of lore. So these fellas here, I didn't speak to them in the last episode. And as this is 100% Let's Play, well, let's show off all the lore that can be shown off. This fella here talks about Queen Gallian, who is much loved by the people. He also talks about Prince Sornahan, who is not much loved by the people. According to this lady here, apparently the Queen and Prince Sornahan don't actually like each other. And the lady here fears that upon the king's death, because there is no natural heir to the throne, Prince Sornahan might take the opportunity to seize the throne, which cannot lead to anything good. Now, she even mentioned about the 13 clans in the early days of Mediva's founding, or at least when people settled in Mediva. Apparently there's 13 clans. The Renari and the Amori clans were the most predominant of the 13. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information that the game gives about the 13 clans, so there's not much I can mention when it comes to those. This fella here talks a bit about King Bellius himself, and about the 4 children that the king and queen had, and, well, unfortunately the 4 children of the king and queen are not very much alive nowadays. In fact, they all died prior to the events of Summoner, some under mysterious circumstances. In fact, the late prince, Prince Iona, the one that Fliss stole the amulet of, or at least it belonged to Prince Iona, apparently he died by falling from a tower. People suspect that the late prince who died was actually killed by Prince Sornahan. At least some believe that Prince Sornahan pushed him from the tower. But it's only open to speculation. It does mention, though, that because there's no natural heir, there's a higher chance that upon the king's death, it would mean civil war for Mediva. And considering that we have the ongoing conflict with Emperor Murad invading the Kingdom of Mediva, we're pretty much heading into dark times at this point. He also mentions about how Prince Sornahan was actually a monk of Iona. At some point he left the monastery, however. Never to be able to return, of course. By the way, pay attention to this fella's hand. Yeah, it does twitch a bit, doesn't it? Very funny animation. What are we doing standing here looking at this poor fella's hand? Sir, forgive me, have a nice day. Ooh, but yeah, I figured I'd show off their dialogues, a bit of backstory, a bit of lore dumping. I couldn't tell you who's being depicted in the tapestries here. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before. Volition really did put a lot of care, a lot of time into world building. There's so many different places and names that they've come up with. Also, nice dragon. Truth be told, I don't actually like dragons. I'm not a fan. And the eagle in this one, very nice. I guess they forgot to put a statue's head there. Wolf. Also, these crystal statues, I'm assuming they're made out of crystal. Yeah, of King Bellius, actually. I'm assuming the same on this side, too. It looks like repeated statues, including the wolf. A very handsome wolf, by the way. Very, very handsome. Anyway, let's speak to another fella. Armocelsus, who could be found up here. Someone playing a dulcimer in the back there. Very nice. Very nice. Keep it up, good sir, whoever's playing that. Anyway, Mr. Armocelsus here, funny name. He is a bit of a historian who documents the monarchy and their reign. A very noble cause, fella. I even talked about Queen Gallienne there. I believe it is pronounced Gallienne. And King Bellius, of course. Never confuse history with the truth. Yeah, that pretty much sums up this whole conversation. Well, sir, thank you for sharing this important information. By the way, I haven't mentioned this at this point. It probably should have become obvious anyway. This speech bubble with the double exclamation signs basically signifies an important person that you can speak to. Either there be a side quest that they're going to offer, or a shop, or maybe just a whole bunch of lore, story critical lore. Or it's always worth having a word with them. But yeah, as I said, oh, by the way, before I forget, for whatever reason, I gave her the cloth shirt. No idea why. The Blesser coat. Yeah, also, the Blinding Buckler has recharged its charges. As I said, it does randomly do that. Anyway, let us depart. Into the Palace Plaza here. There's nothing to be found here, by the way. You're free to explore it, but there's no side quests or items to be found. Anyway, as I said, this will be focused on side cleanup, side quests. Getting ready for our next centenary, which would be the Monastery of Iona. Yes, our old mentor, Yargo. They've given us a task to defeat the Emperor Murad. But before so, he wants us to find the Rings of Summoning. He's already given us the first one, the Ring of Darkness. And he draws our attention to the Monastery of Iona, where the Ring of Light can be found. Or at least according to him. As I said, I do want to clean up some stuff before then. A still wonderful ambience in Lanelle. Honestly, in Summoner in general, a very good ambience, very good world building. That is a bit funny. Let's start by giving the family heirloom back to Mr. Pompero, whatever his name was. It appears that the Chamberlain was telling the truth, or was on the right tracks. The sewer rats were to blame for the theft of the family heirloom. By the way, is it pronounced as heirloom or heirloom with a silent H? I'm assuming I mostly hear it as heirloom, but That's up for debate. Yes, well met, fella. We have your heirloom. And yes, we did take a good inspection of it. Very, very elegant. Oh, hey, a berserker sword. Very nice. We'll take that. Let's have a quick look at that, shall we? Compare it to the bastard sword here. A little bit weaker, but it is faster. And it has that empower effect to it. Very nice. I will hold on to that. And it's one-handed. Very nice. We'll get you a shield, Joseph, shall we? We'll get you a shield. I don't believe they say anything more or anything new. It's worth a talk. I guess they just don't seem to care much. Alright, fair enough. Have a nice day, my lady. Woo. I hope you don't mind me not trimming out all this travel here. I will trim out the loading screens, but I just want it to be a nice, complete Let's Play, so take in the atmosphere. As I said, Volition have done a very good job of doing that. They'd only delivered on the setting of the world. Some nice flute playing too. Yeah, so we come to make some purchases. It's definitely a step up for Fleers. I did not intend for that pun, but I'll take it. That would definitely be a leg up for Fleers. Oh, I did intend that pun. Nice buckler, similar to the blinding version. It actually increases your speed somehow, equipped to that shield. We'll take the round shield. It's definitely perkier. Thank you very much, sir. Not much to sell there. I still do not like these boots. They look way too futuristic for my liking. We have to change them at some point. Very nice shield though. Fleers, some upgrades, some studded leggings. Which don't look incredibly studded, but I'll take it. Some steel-heeled boots. Still nice flute playing. Anyway, we've got those silk garments that we reclaimed from Serval. They're probably a bit scorched after Fleer's endeavour with the fiery falchion. Well, such things can't be helped too much. Just let the lady pass here. Having trouble clicking on the fella there. Mr. Mercer, well, I have some good news for you, sir. We did reclaim your stolen goods. Well met, and thank you very much, sir. We shall take those breeches. Let's have a look at those, shall we? Silk breeches. Yeah, the game really does not give a shit about spoiling upcoming characters, does it? Yes, you can guess that Rosalind will be a character we shall meet very soon. Fleers has better leggings, however, at this point. So we'll save those for Rosalind. Is there some kid shouting over there? It'll probably come from one of these houses up here. Yeah, they put so much effort. I keep praising Volition. Despite the fact that they abandoned the system, I will give them credit where credit is due. They put... I've never seen another game, or at least it's not AAA, that have put so much effort into building their world and their lore it's really is an incredible feat, especially for its time. Especially considering it's Volition's very first role-playing game. The very first PlayStation 2 game. In fact, I believe it is a launch title. Don't know if I mentioned that before. Kitty cat. Yeah, pretty well modelled actually, considering the lack of polygons. A bit of a constipated animation there, but I will not judge. It is still pretty well made. Very nice. Oh, another kitty cat. What do I do that every time I see a cat? Looking very perky, my friend. I would like to say a few polygons short of a. Also, that is some fantastic rotation, sir. Fantastic. If not a few polygons short of a complete mesh. Also, this will be the sewer grate. We got a key from the sewers, the sewer grate key. It's actually for this grate here. Very nice. I believe I already peered down the grate there, but it's always worth having another look. You can close it back up if you want, but well, I shall keep it open just in case we want to push some certain heinous fellas down there. Oh, by the way, you can actually picklock that with Fliss. She has enough picklocking skill to open it up without the key. It's actually an alternative route into the sewers. Is it route or route? I don't know. Route? Route? I can never tell. The English language is so interesting. It's interesting. But yeah, so that is another way to... You can actually bypass the whole sewer puzzle where you had to open gates A1 and B1 just by going into that grate. I can't tell you if it's quicker of a solution, but it saves all the fuss. Yes, Mr. Pedrog, sorry for ignoring you for a sec. We did find some activities in the sewers, and we have some proof of that. This lovely sort. Which I would love to keep, just in case I have some soup, or some sort of chips. To put that sort on top. 900 gold, very nice. Actually not bad. That's a pretty good reward. Thank you, sir. Let's take another look into this Iranian shop here. Which will disappear. Well, at least the shopkeep will disappear. When we've done our shenanigans in Iona Monastery. Let's make our final purchases with the fella. Actually going to buy this. A very nice citrine. A nice yellow gemstone. We got an amethyst, which I can sell. It's kind of pretty, though. No, I won't sell it. I want to keep it. Yes. Carbuncle things. I have a little obsession with gemstones. Anyway, we're very well met, sir. Thank you for the purchase. This blessed necklace. Fliss can identify it. Blue items, as I've said, I believe. They are unidentified items. And Fliss is the sole character that can, well, appraise items. Very nice. Who has the lowest speed? Okay, Fleers, that'd be for you then. Very nice. I forget if I've mentioned it, but the speed stats just governs how quick or how frequent your attacks are. Oh, we do have the ragdoll. Yes, I remember the ragdoll as well. That'd be another quest to hand him. I'm just walking down the streets here. There's quite a lot of ambience that they've applied. By the way, the ragdoll quest, there was a demo for Summoner at the time of its release. And the ragdoll quest was actually a main quest for the demo. That's some very nice playing, sir. A jolly old chap. Very artistic in his playing there. But yeah, the Ragdoll quest was a main quest in the demo of Summoner. You'd had to go down into the sewers, collect it, and then, well, hand it back to him. And that would complete the demo. I believe it was on a time limit as well. A 45-minute time limit, I think it had. Very interesting demo. Yeah, here's our fella here. My good sir, we did reclaim the doll for you. Unfortunately, we had to take it from the poor beside.
I am a clever one.
Yes, indeed you are, Fliss. Very clever. You're very clever in those sewers. She's a clever girl, sir. Thank you very much, sir. A high quality knife. Galadian steel? Yeah, we'll take a good look at that. We'll accept it with honour. Yeah, the names Volition came up with. Yeah, it's an energy elemental as well. 40 damage, pretty good. Very fast. And a very interesting design. Probably not the most practical. Probably not the most practical in design. Fleers. You can take a break from setting things on fire. Well, it's a very fancy looking dagger or knife, whatever. Yeah, Volition, they release and develop diaries as theirs release in Summoner. Just to give the ins and outs of how they developed the game. I believe they mentioned in one of their diaries that they talked about creating the weapons and how they wanted some equipment to look fancy and to look special. That high quality knife, I believe, is one of these special items. It definitely looks distinct from the more generic looking weapons. Fliss, could you wait outside for a bit? Yes, I'm a little bit drunk. I can't make my way through the door. This fellow is still with the knife in the wall there. Now, by the way, this is actually studded leather. I don't know if I mentioned this before. An actual armour you can obtain. We'll be on the lookout for that. Well met, sir. Yes. Can we buy some wares? I'm going to purchase this fine robes for Rosalind. The game's already spoiled us. You see that cloth shirt, yeah. And the tunic. And the regular leather boots. We'll keep the high leather boots. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, Summoner really doesn't care about hiding names until you get the characters unlocked. It's very rudimentary when it comes to the script in a Summoner. It's very rustic. Rustic. Summoner is very rustic in its design. Let's hand over that amulet to the client of Fleece's. Yeah, so if I haven't mentioned it before, upon having Fleece join the party, the game never actually tells you this, but you do get a side quest alongside Fleece as she joins. Oh, nice little rat. With a very handsome tail, by the way. Very cute. Actually well animated, come to think of it. There we go, scurrying along. Very nice. I like rats. I'm a big rodent fan. Mostly the rabbits and the rats. And the mice. Very much a fan. Yeah, they even animated his feet. If you took a good look at that little rat there, even his feet were animated fully. Volition spared no expense in Summoner's development. But yeah, as I mentioned, upon getting Fleece, the game never tells you this, but you do actually get a side quest as you get her. Let this be a client, Drago. Prince John's amulet. And this would be her client right here. Fleece, if you will. You can ask him about the amulet, but we did get it. Yes, here it is, my good sir. Thank you for doing business. Also, 2,000 gold, that's very good. Very, very good. That makes up for the blessed necklace I purchased earlier. Thank you for doing business with you. Yes. Well, Joseph, let us depart. Yes, the game never actually lets you know that you have a side quest with Fleece about Prince Yon's amulet. As I said, Prince Yon was the late prince of the King and Queens, also who perished. Some believed, or at least there's a nice percentage of people that believe that Prince Yon was the one that done him in. We'll actually hear more about that amulet and Prince Yon later, but not right now. Now, before I head to Iona to prepare for the next episode, because as I said, we won't be touching story progression in this one, just want to go back to some random encounters for a very particular reason. Yeah, once again showing off this one with the red Iona here. Just want to give you a quick word of warning. When you go to Iona to reclaim the Ring of Light, this random encounter will disappear, and it will never become available ever again. So just give a quick warning, make sure to do all of your level grinding with this one before you do Iona shenanigans. But yeah, I figured I'd show it off one last time before we embark to Iona. Because this will be the last time we see it in this Let's Play, unfortunately. 3,500 experience. Well worth your time and effort. But yes, be sure to do all your level grinding here. It is your best spot for level grinding. Unfortunately, only Fleece and Joseph are the only ones that can reap from its benefits. Well, arguably Rosalind as well, because it doesn't go away until you pick up the Ring of Light. So you can get to Rosalind before getting that Ring of Light. So you can actually train her up here too. But yeah, just figured I'd let you know about that before we embark. I'll show off the other encounter as well before we embark. Give me a sec. Yeah, so I just wanted to show off this one once again. This one will not disappear when you get the Ring of Light, so you ain't got to worry about that. Something I forgot to mention, however, the Fire Summon Anchor here actually drops a pretty nice necklace, actually. It's a pretty rare drop, however. It is called a Fighter's Twerk. And it's a very nice necklace, so... but a very good idea to see if we can get hold of one of those from this fella. Let me just walk my pet real quick. Oh! Oh, Fliss! Look behind... Hi. I'll see you when we get back to the world map. No, don't attack my pet, Fliss. What are you doing? You bastard! Fliss! Oh, she's a clever girl. I'll catch you when we get back to the world map, fellas. Well, Fliss needs to learn some restraint sometime. Anyway, that shenanigans aside, let us embark to Iona, of course. If you're wondering why there's random trims as I'm making my way to Iona, just a few random encounters. Anyway, Iona. We'll save this for the next episode. As I said, no story progression in this one. In the next, however, there will be. To Iona. Which is sitting on top of two bowl-shaped, like, structures. Very nice. Yeah, it's probably accurate as well, actually, come to think of it. Pretty accurate model. Anyway, sorry that not much happened in this one. Well, relating to the story at least. But I figured I'll just get some side content out the way first and, well, prepare us for Iona. Anyway, hope you had a good time. Have a nice day, fellas, and I will catch you in the next one, where we shall depart for Iona. And yes, that shall be my new greetings. Catch you in the next one.